When it comes to the 007 films, most fans would agree that Daniel Craig left a strong legacy as the world's greatest secret agent, James Bond. But what about the video games? From titles like Bloodstone to 007 Legends, years later, are they better or worse than we initially thought? Let's recap two of the weakest and two of the best 007 video games, featuring Daniel Craig. To kick things off in last place, I'll start with 007 Legends, one of the most memorable James Bond games for all the wrong reasons. On paper, it sounded brilliant. Legends had an ambitious idea for players to relive some of the most iconic Bond films all in one game.
Do you expect me to talk?
Essentially, a greatest hits collection.
Oh, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
There's Goldfinger, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, License to Kill, Die Another Day, Moonraker, and if you could get your hands on it, Skyfall. You'll recognize many people and places in trimmed-down versions of each movie. Several cast members return,
Sanchez's operation is hidden in that heritage center.
lending their voice and likeness to their film characters too.
You see, Mr. Bond, you can't kill my dreams. But my dreams can kill you. Time to face destiny.
But sadly, the game was a dud. A legendary one, actually, with Activision giving up its 00 license and spiraling the James Bond gaming franchise into a long, 14-year hiatus. Revisiting 007 Legends today, the story still doesn't connect well. It ends abruptly and takes a backseat to all the gameplay moments with shooting, gadgets, car chases, a progression system, some low-gravity combat, and whatever you want to call these awkward fistfights. Whether it's the narrative or the first-person shooter gameplay, overall, 007 Legends never found the bullseye with one thing or another, even if it slightly builds upon its predecessor, GoldenEye Reloaded.
Together we could rule the earth.
I think not.
At number 3, I'll be the first to say I'm not a fan of present-day Call of Duty games. That's probably why I'd rank Reloaded very low, nearly as low as 007 Legends actually.
Begin secure transmission. Good morning, 007.
Sure, it tells a more complete story than Legends. The graphics still look great today.
Welcome to Russia. MI6 has given us the go-ahead on the mission.
And years after retiring their roles, it's a treat to hear Daniel Craig and Judi Dench in game. But overall, it's a flat adventure with almost no moment that surpasses the original James Bond game or film. GoldenEye Reloaded slightly updates the classic story, but crams it with a higher body count and a forgettable cast. With no interesting gadgets or missions, a mind-numbing tank chase, and an uninspired soundtrack, Reloaded doesn't do anything better than the Bond games before or after it.
I'll say it again. Enjoy your death, Mr. Bond.
I actually really struggled ranking 007 Legends and GoldenEye Reloaded more than most gamers, as Legends felt like it at least tried to take things beyond standard run-and-gun gameplay. But as bland of a Bond game GoldenEye Reloaded is,
Hand it over.
If you insist.
it does have some great cutscenes and feels more polished and complete between the two games. One noteworthy point, both games do include multiplayer. Rumor has it that gamers have resurrected an online server or two, but if you're out of luck, there's always classic split-screen multiplayer. At number 2, we take a big step forward into the best of Daniel Craig's James Bond games. And for me, Quantum of Solace nearly comes in at first place. From the events of Casino Royale to Quantum of Solace, players relive highlights from across each movie. While the graphics aren't as impressive as the other games, the action has a great mixture of first-person and third-person gameplay. There are no playable driving sequences, and it includes some basic gadgetry. But the hand-to-hand combat and the great soundtrack pull you into the best of the Daniel Craig films. I understand the movie tie-in with the game's release, but it still feels odd that it's specifically named after Quantum of Solace, considering a large chunk of the game is from Casino Royale. For the weakest of Craig's films, it's too bad they couldn't have expanded more on the world of Quantum. But hey, when you get to relive scenes like the finale from Casino Royale, it doesn't get much better than that. And finally, all these years later, 007 Bloodstone still ranks as the best Daniel Craig 007 video game, including the likeness and voices of Daniel Craig and Judi Dench.
Well, that makes two of us.
Well done.
Thank you.
Third-person gameplay, and an original story. Bloodstone feels like the 6th James Bond film you didn't know we had with Daniel Craig.
You could kill me, Rank.
There are great cutscenes,
But MI6 will send somebody else. Either way, you're as good as dead right now.
brutal fistfights, and exciting vehicle chases. Most players would agree that the story isn't the most memorable, the villain is a little forgettable, and the ending feels unresolved. But it's still a must-play title, and the gameplay feels great even by today's standards. It's wild to think that regardless of all the post-release praise, the game actually sold poorly, contributing to Bloodstone's developers closing their doors. So if 007 First Light inspires you to relive the older or forgotten titles of James Bond, then I could highly recommend Quantum of Solace and 007 Bloodstone. Tell me what you think in the comments below. And up next, revisit the most daring idea for a James Bond video game, GoldenEye Rogue Agent.